Very good morning, dear children. Welcome back. This video is for class 10th, subject science, chapter number 9, heredity and evolution. And this is lecture number 3 of this chapter. The content of today's video lecture is that first topic that we will be studying is how do traits get expressed, and the second topic will be the sex determination of a newborn. So, our first topic is how do traits, characteristics, these get expressed in an organism. So, children, we all know that the traits are carried by the genes in the next progeny. And we all know where are the genes present? Genes are present on the chromosomes, and in humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. That means total 46 chromosomes are there in humans. That means these 46 chromosomes carry the genes on them, and we all know that as the chromosomes are present in pairs, the genes are also present in pairs, which are called as alleles of a particular characteristic. So, during reproduction, as we know, only one out of the pair is going to the next progeny through the copy of DNA. So, actually, what is a gene? Gene is a segment of DNA. Gene codes for a particular protein. If we try to understand that how genes are responsible for a particular characteristic in an organism, so we can understand it in the way that gene which codes for a particular protein, specific protein, so this specific protein, it acts as an enzyme. This will act on the specific cells present in the body, and hence, because of the action of this enzyme or this protein on the cell, that particular characteristic will be shown by the cell or by the organism. So, this is how the genes are responsible for transferring the characteristics to the progeny. If we try to understand it with a basic method, so we know that during sexual reproduction, what actually happens is that the gametes or the germ cells from male and female both comes, fuses, and hence the zygote formation takes place. Now, that germ cell of a male is called a sperm. Here, this structure I've just made to represent one germ cell. Although the male germ cell is a sperm which carries or which has a different structure, it is having a tail-like structure also with it. So here, just to represent a cell, I'm just drawing it as this. And in a female, the germ cell or the gamete is called a ova. An ova. So, actually, what a cell carries, this germ cell, inside the nucleus there will be the DNA. So, what happens that inside the males we have the chromosomes present, and they carry the genes in this way. So let's say these are at one set we have 23 chromosomes which will carry 23 genes on them, and on the other side of the DNA, on the second strand of the DNA, we will also carry the opposite set of these chromosomes. which will carry the opposite gene of the same pair. For example, if the characteristic of height is denoted by T, and we have as capital T or T as a pair of gene for representing height, then let's say capital T is at first strand and small t is at second strand of the male germ cell. The similar thing happens in the female, that they also have the same set as a pair of 23 chromosomes. So, as one human being can have only 23 pairs of chromosomes, that means in total 46, and that too in pair chromosomes can be there in a human. So, when these two has to fuse together to form a zygote, then what can happen? 23 pairs cannot go. Sorry, 46 pairs or both the sets cannot go, and that's why what happens, that half part of it is going to the next generation. From here also any of the half will go to fuse and they will form the zygote. So which half part has got to fuse with which half part of the sperm cell, or you can say that the sperm cell, total number of sperm cells, out of the half, out of that half will carry this section and half will carry this section. So it is dependent on the fusion or the fertilization when it takes place, that which set is going to fuse with the set of ova. So that will lead to the kind of characteristics that that zygote will have. So we can say that genes are responsible for transferring the traits, as well as genes are the one through which the traits are getting expressed, because we know that genes can be dominant one or they can be recessive one. So if the dominant gene has come either from male or female into the zygote, then that will display its character, and that characteristic will be there as a dominant one in the zygote also. If the recessive traits, recessive genes has come, then that will show its character. So accordingly the traits will be displayed. Children, here we have some common characteristics which were studied, and by studying them it was told that which one is the dominant character or the gene and which one is the recessive trait. So here one is eye color. Eye color, there can be brown or blue color or black color as well. So if these two were studied, then we found that brown was the dominant one and blue was the recessive one, and that is why rarely it is found that somebody is having blue colored eyes. Hair color, hairs can be curly or straight. So curly is the dominant character and straight is the recessive character. Then eyebrows, bushy and thin. So dominant character is the bushy one. So generally the people have the bushy or thick eyebrows. Then we have tongue. So in case of tongue, rolling and non-rolling, these two are the characters main types. So rolling is the dominant one and non-rolling is the recessive one. So non-rolling means generally some of the people they found it difficult to speak some words. So they are not capable of moving their tongue properly. So that means non-rolling recessive trait has come to them. Then we have hand, handedness and left handedness. So right handedness is the dominant character and left-handedness is the recessive one. Ear lobe, free and attached. So free is the dominant one and the attached one is the recessive. Lips, thick and thin. So the thicker lips are the dominant because of the dominant character, and the thin lips are because of the recessive character. Then color vision. Color vision for many of the people, they are able to see almost all the colors, so normal vision is dominant and color blind is recessive trait. So color blind is the effect in which some colors or the person is not able to distinguish between the colors. So that is because the recessive trait of color vision has come to them. So finally, we can conclude that dominant genes and recessive genes, two different types of genes are available, and the dominant one will show its character always, even in the presence of recessive gene, and recessive will only show its character or will display its uh, character only in the absence of the dominant gene. So dominant, the genes which dominate others are dominant, and the genes which are dominated by others are recessive ones. Here we can also discuss the inheritance of blood group, that how blood groups, which are one of the characteristic, can be expressed. So a person can have any of the blood group, and the blood groups are A, B, AB or O. So these can be the types of blood group a person can have. And here a gene I, represented by I, controls the blood group system. It has three forms, and these are denoted by I A, I B and I O. Here the genes IA and IB, these two do not dominate each other, and they produce their effect in an individual. So these two do not dominate each other. So whenever these two are present, then both of them will show their effect. So that is why these two are called as co-dominant. And the IO is the recessive type allele here. Allele because here all these three, earlier we were having one gene having two varieties and one, so here this I or the representer of the blood group is having three forms, IA, IB and IO. So here IO is the recessive one. Now these three are called as alleles of blood group. Now let us see how we can get the genotype and phenotype for blood groups. So children, if I have IA or IA, if these two are present, this code is available or this code is available. If this is the code, genetic code for blood group, and this is the code, then the phenotype for it will be A, because here AA is present, so A will be the dominant one in any case, and here O is the recessive, so A will show its character. So blood group will be A. Now if we have similarly IB, IB or IBIO, then the blood group will be B. If there are IA and IB both present. So as these two do not dominate each other, so the blood group will be AB. And if in only case we have IO together, then the blood group will be O. So that's how a person can have the blood group either AB, AB or O. Our next topic is sex determination. So, sex determination of a child, that means how the baby which develops in the womb of a mother, how it knows that what in what form it has to develop completely, whether it has to become a baby boy or a baby girl. So how does the baby knows this thing, or how these things are getting decided inside the womb? So actually what happens, that not in the womb it decided, it is decided at the time of fertilization, zygote formation. So what actually happens is, what sex determination is? Sex determination is a process of inheritance of sex of a child from the parents. That what sex characteristics, what genes of sex the child has inherited from the parent, so that will be called as a sex determination process. Here, as we know that here we are purely talking of humans, no other organism. So we know that in males and females, what do we have? Here the male sex gamete will be the sperm, and here it will be an ova or an egg. So actually what happens, that as we know that humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. So 23 pairs of chromosomes are available, and so in that manner we have total 46 chromosomes in total. But out of these 23 pairs, 22 pairs of chromosomes are the autosomes. Autosomes, the chromosomes which carry the gene which are representing the normal characteristics. Normal characteristics means like the color of hair, the color of eye, height, or the type of ear, the type of hair we have. So all these normal characteristics are carried by these 222 pairs of chromosomes. Now, the one pair which is left, that pair is called as sex chromosome. So this is a pair of chromosome. Two chromosomes are present and they are known as sex chromosomes. They are also called as allosomes. Now, actually what happens, that inside a male, this formation, let's say if I try to represent them in a male germ cell, so how I'm going to represent them, that I'll be having the pairs of chromosomes present in the nucleus. So I'll be having the chromosomes like this. We will be having 23 here, 23 here. So the 22, 22 on both the sides will be the auto. So that last chromosome available in a male germ cell is XY type. XY, that means that we can write a code for that is XY. Whereas in a female, if I represent them in the same way, then what we are going to have, that sex chromosome or the last pair of chromosome is XX type. So when these two germ cell has to fuse, each male and female is having 23 pairs of chromosomes, and the next formed baby, the baby that will be going to form, the baby that is going to form will only have 23 pairs. It is not going to have 46 pairs. So what is going to be done, that half will be taken from here and half will be taken from here, and they are going to join together. So out of the 23 pairs, half part of them, that means either these or these from the male, and either these or these half from the females will be taken and combined together to form the zygote. So what will happen? That means the male gamete is having the germs or the gametes available which are having the XY type or XY chromosomes, and here the female is having the sex chromosomes as the code XX. So when these two has to fuse, what can happen? Because 50% characteristics or the genes has to be inherited from the male, 50% of the gene has to be inherited from the female. So in any case, the inherited trait from a female will be the X type. So that X, if this X, either this or this, any one, if this X combines with the X type gene of a male, then this will be a female, and if any of the two is going to combine with the gene Y, so what we are going to have, XY code. So this is going to form a male child. So these are the genes which are going to be inherited, which are to be inherited from the mother and father both. They are going to decide that whether the child will be a male child or a female child. So we know, here you can see that female is having both the genes similar, and it is the father which decides whether the child form or the new child which is getting which is going to be born, that will be a male or a female, and that is decided during the fertilization of the germ cells itself. As in your NCERT, in figure at page number 146, you can see that it has been explained that the male is having the sex chromosome as XY type and the female is having sex chromosome as XX type. So in any case, the egg will be an X type or it will inherit the X gene from the DNA. Now, the gametes of a male sex, either they can have X or Y. So, the millions of germs produced, half of them they carry the X gene in them, half of them carry the Y gene in them. So, either X or Y, which is going to fuse with the X, that is going to decide the sex of the child. What will happen? That the X egg, when it goes with the X sperm or the sperm which carries the X chromosome in that, so that will lead to the formation of a female child XX, and if this X is fusing with the germ cell which is carrying the Y genes inherited from the father, then it will form a code XY, and that will lead to the formation of a male child. So this is how we can say that it is the male which decides whether the child will be a male or a female, because female is having the same genetic code for only, that is XX only, and the male is having that presence of chromosome as X and Y. So in that manner also the child which will be formed, that will also have only 23 pairs of chromosomes. So children, this is how the sex determination of a child is done. this is it for this chapter. This was the last topic of this chapter, as we are not going to study the evolution, so we have to study the chapter till here. Now let us see today's homework. So children, your first question of today's homework will be the in-text question number 4 of page number 147. That is, how is the sex of a child determined in human beings? The second question of your homework will be the exercise question 1. That is, a Mendelian experiment consisted of breeding tall pea plants bearing violet flowers with short pea plants bearing white flowers. The progeny all bore violet flowers, but almost half of them were short. This suggests that the genetic makeup of the tall plant can be depicted as A. TTWW, B. TT small ww, C capital T small t ww, D capital T small t capital W small w. Then you are supposed to do question number 4 after question number 1 of this chapter. So question number 4, that means this will become the question number 3 of your today's homework. A study found that children with light colored eyes are likely to have the parent with the light colored eyes. On this basis, can we say anything about whether the light color eye color is trait is dominant or recessive? Why or why not? Then you are supposed to do the last two questions of the exercise, that is question number 11 and 12. So here what we have, question number 11, so that will become the fourth question of your homework. And how is the equal genetic contribution of male and female parent ensured in the progeny? Then question number 5 of your homework will be, only variation that confer an advantage to an individual organism will survive in a population. Do you agree with this statement? Why or why not? So children, in total 5 questions are there in the homework, and in the next class we will be doing the doubts from the exemplar section. So after doing these 5 questions, do the MCQ based questions from the NCERT exemplar of this chapter. I'll be sharing a PDF of the chapter NCERT exemplar in the group. So if you are not having the books, please take help from it. Children, I'll see you in the doubt session now. Till then, take care and goodbye.